I'd imagine it isn't too much to ask of a football team strategizing its way into multiple surprises on a given Sunday. Good morning to you. Good Thursday morning. I'm Dejan Kovacevic of DK Pittsburgh Sports. This is Daily Shot of Steelers. It comes your way bright and early every weekday. If you're into hockey and or baseball, I also offer daily shots of Penguins and Pirates that I hope you'll check out as well. Steelers versus Packers is a Sunday night game at Acrisure Stadium. It's an 8:20 p.m. kickoff, and there will be some very easily predicted elements to it, chiefly that, Aaron Rodgers is going against the team for which he played for 100 years. He'll be doing so for the first time, and to hear him tell it yesterday on the South Side, it's really not going to register as much of a subplot to him. As evidence, this was his response when asked to compare this situation to the one where Brett Favre was playing for the Vikings and came back to face the Packers in 2009, and everyone had billed that as one of those revenge games.
Well, Brett got traded, and then he went to one of the hated rivals. I was in New Jersey for a couple of years. I don't have any animosity toward the organization. Obviously, I wish that, things have been better in our last year there, but, I have a great relationship with a lot of people still in that organization. And this is not a revenge game for me. I'm just excited to see some of those guys and be on Sunday Night Football again.
Not going to lie, I love that clip mostly because he refers to playing in New Jersey for that alleged New York NFL team. So, where will the suspense come from? Well, it's a couple of, in all likelihood, evenly matched teams across the board, and that has me feeling a lot like I did about the Steelers taking on the Vikings in Dublin. All the travel and other fanfare aside, it looked like it was going to be a pretty even matchup and a game worth anticipating in that regard alone. What ultimately defined that game was that the Steelers did stuff that nobody, including very obviously the Minnesota coaching staff, had expected from them. And I'm just here to say, and I'm sorry if this is painfully obvious, but it's okay to do that on a regular basis. You don't have to save it for desperate times, for when your figurative back is against the wall, for when you need to win 5 straight to stay alive, or anything like that. You can just show up in a stadium and do stuff that the other guys don't see coming. You can do that on offense. I don't even mean gadget stuff, wiki-wacky stuff. You just show them something, like what the Vikings saw with the 6-man, 7-man at times offensive line. Arthur Smith's been doing that on his side of the ball pretty much all season. Some of the formations that he showed in Cincinnati, which would have been all we were talking about this week, had it not been for the nightmare on defense, they were outstanding. He had people all over the place. He had the Bengals defense, which was already going to be challenged because they're not very good, and they were missing Trey Hendrickson. He had them scratching their heads the whole game. Meanwhile, to paraphrase from something that Julian Edelman, the old New England wide receiver, said on a podcast back in January, they still do the same blankety blank as when I was playing the Mike Tomlin defense. And I'm like, we still have linebackers covering the 3 slot? Every time we play the Steelers, I'd have at least 9 catches. You'd think that they would change it, but no, they do what they do. End quote. At least a couple of similar remarks were made by the Bengals after the game in Cincinnati. They see the Steelers' defense. It's exactly what they watched on film. It's exactly what everybody else watched on film all season leading up to this, and it's probably even what Edelman was watching on film in his playing days. To quote Edelman again, I'm like, we still have linebackers covering the 3 slot? Does that feel at all like what you watched When you saw Jamar Chase and T. Higgins just running free, every slant was an automatic. Do something different. Nobody will think less of you. In fact, a lot like Dublin, probably think a lot more of you. That's what coaching is supposed to be. It's not supposed to be proving that you're right or the way you've done things forever is the right way. The objective of coaching is to win. The best way to win is for the other guys to not know what it is that you're doing. It's beyond insane that anybody has to bring this up anywhere, let alone regarding an NFL head coach and an NFL defensive coordinator in Terrell Austin. Try different stuff. Use 3 down linemen to shut down the run. Move TJ Watt all over the place. Find some crazy role for Nick Herbig that nobody had thought of. Because I can promise you, Matt LaFleur, Green Bay's head coach, one of the brighter offensive minds in the game, isn't about to rent out space atop Mount Washington to advertise what the Packers are going to do offensively. When we come back, J1Q.
This segment of Daily Shot is brought to you by our good friends at Mike's Beer Bar. They're located on Federal Street, directly across from PNC Park. Mike has more than 500 beers on tap, including from more than 50 local breweries. Stop in and say hello. Tell Mike we sent you. Mike's Beer Bar. Football season's finally here. Time to check out the latest odds, futures, and win totals on the FanDuel Sportsbook. Think the Steelers are headed to the Super Bowl? Lock in your bets today. Whatever your game, FanDuel Sportsbook delivers the latest lines, futures, and specials so you can join in on all the action. For those of you who are doing real work in construction, in a warehouse, if you're a mechanic, you want reliable, comfortable gear to help you perform well on the job. Brunt Workwear's got you. They've got waterproof boots, safety toe, soft toe, pull-on, lace-up, whatever you need. You can wear them to work. And if they're not right for you, send them back. I don't know of any other brand doing that. Brunt was tired of the workwear brands out there cutting corners. You work too hard to be stuck in uncomfortable boots that don't hold up. So they built something better. Boots that are insanely comfortable and built for any job site. For a limited time, our listeners get $10 off. Just head to bruntworkwear.com. Use the code DK Sports and you're good to go. After you order, they'll ask you where you heard about Brunt. Do us a favor here at DK Pittsburgh Sports and tell them it was from this show. Welcome back to Daily Shot of Steelers, presented by FanDuel. Today's J1Q comes from Trayson, who asks, DK, how do you expect this defense to bounce back? The Steelers are about to play 3 legit teams, each of them with a great passing attack. Well, I've got a couple of things to say to that first. One is that, yes, the Packers, the Colts, and the Chargers all have real-life National Football League quarterbacks who are going to do damage against you. The Colts specifically are going to do damage to you a lot of different ways. So I wouldn't limit the concern to the passing game. And heck, if you did want to limit the concern to the passing game, I'll point out that the 4th opponent on the list will be Joe Flacco and the Bengals again. And, of course, the league's best receiving tandem in Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. They got to get things right. They've got to fix stuff. They've got to try to fix stuff. And carrying that even further, they've got to be willing to try to fix stuff. Sometimes the way to fix stuff is to break it first, meaning maybe you can take that debacle against the Bengals and turn it into a positive. You know, all that stuff that the coaches and the athletes say after preseason games when things don't go well. Yeah, well, that's good, they'll say, because we got to see what it's like when we face that kind of plan or that kind of player so that we can learn from our mistakes, so that we can adjust what it is that we're doing. But the real key to this, I think, more than anything, will be going through all of this, ideally as quickly as possible, And, well, this is why that game last week felt like such a setback. This is why. Because you think they got some stuff sorted out before going overseas. You think that it mattered to some degree, at least to a little degree, that they were able to hold the Browns to 3 field goals. You think that they're getting closer to their identity, whatever it is that happens to be. And then you find out, all in one night, that you were wrong about everything, that none of that's the case. And that's where it gets messy, because on one hand, and in one segment, I can tell you, they got to start doing something differently. They got to be less predictable. They got to come up with some surprises. And on the other hand, right after the break, I tell you, well, they've got to come up with an identity, because the identity is the only way that they're going to have any sort of defensive consistency, and the only way that they're going to ever be able to dictate to their opponent what it is that they want to do. And then in turn, they control the football game. It's a lot like some of the discussion last week about the Thursday night game. You wanted to see guys rotate. You wanted to see fresher players moving in and out. Well, you got that, and then the game is up, and several players, headlined by Patrick Queen, were like, there was too much rotation. It hurt our communication. It hurt our... This isn't going to be easy. This isn't going to be a snap fix. This isn't going to be something where come, midnight on Sunday, we're all going to go, well, geez, they dodged a bullet there. They've got everything all solved now because they really shut down the Packers. No matter what they do Sunday night, as you just pointed out, Indianapolis is going to be way tougher offensively because they're coming at you first and foremost with the universe's best running back in Jonathan Taylor. You think these guys, as currently constituted, are equipped to, I don't even want to say stop him, to even slow him down? The week after that, it's Justin Herbert, the NFL's leading passer, numero uno. So nothing that happens against Green Bay this weekend, and I'm not taking anything away from Jordan Love or Josh Jacobs or any of the terrific players on the Packers offense, but it's going to be relentless. Make no mistake, this is why when you watch that game, it was played in Cincinnati, you had that sick stomach-turning feeling inside because you watched a defense just get exposed. That was raw. Everything was laid out for everybody. How to beat this team. Really, not just how to beat them, how to embarrass them. And the Steelers, and again specifying here, Mike Tomlin and Terrell Austin had no counters for this. They had nothing they could do as their chessboard was collapsing in front of them. Nothing. Zero. So what has to happen Sunday is that you got to start all over. And wherever it is that you start, it's just going to be the foundation. If you're fortunate, if things go well. And man, you want to talk about surprises. I don't think anybody sees that coming. I appreciate the question. It's a good one. It's a fair one. I appreciate everybody listening to Daily Shot of Steelers. Today being coordinator Thursday, the Steelers are all kinds of busy over on the south side. Once they're done at 4 p.m. Eastern, you'll be able to tune in to Double Shot of Steelers on the DK Pittsburgh Sports app. Hope to have you with us then.